episode of Chatty Broads with Becca and Jess.
Sup, broads?
What's going on, broads? How are you? We just had Becca. I think every single week there's an audio, like there's a drama. Broads, I know you're
what
not.
What have I done to deserve this?
I mean, I don't even know. I feel like I'm a decent person.
I think I'm a pretty good person. Both of us.
I think
I don't know.
Right? I don't think I'm the best person, but like, my lord, Broads, I know you never see, but like every week for the past like 3 months, there's been drama before when we have our guests on. It's always like, oh my God, so sorry. The audio's crashing. Everything's happening.
Yeah, no. So Evan's like an audio engineer, and every time I'm like, hey, so this is going on. And he like with my side of audio, and he's always like, yeah, I've literally never heard of that before. I've never seen that happen.
No, absolutely never, and never anytime does he ever. And the fact of the matter is too, you know, this is again what he does for like a profession. He's working with like big artists. And then every time we have a Zoom issue, he's just like, never heard of it. Never seen this happen once. So
yeah, so there's that. Also, you know, you said we were decent people, but I'm at my mom's right now, or my mom and dad's recording. My mom calls us. She told me this the other day. She said, yeah, when my friends ask, oh, your daughter has a podcast, what's it called? She goes, well, they're called the Chatty Broads, but I like to call them the Bratty Chicks. I'm like, cool.
Fucking called out by Mama Martinez.
Bratty Chicks. Because she's Christian, she says bratty chicks. If she wasn't Christian, she'd probably call us bratty bitches, I'm sure.
I mean, I'll take either, to be honest. I've been called a brat since day one. This is not anything new.
I know, she says we're mean. I don't believe it.
I think we're pretty nice. Actually, I don't know.
I was like, Mom, that's only half our content. It's only when we're making fun of Bachelor people. The other half of the time, we're like trying to help people, you know?
It's all about balance, Mama. You know what I mean? I
learned it from someone.
Like, I blame you, honestly. But how are you? I know Becca is currently with fam.
I'm good. I'm not with child anymore. So that's, you know, a big bonus.
That's very true.
I've really been basking in that. Do you like my family photo?
I do love the family photo. It's so beautiful. It feels like you're in like this dope 70s pad.
I know, it's like this particularly weird 70s photo. None of our other photos around are like that. It just makes me look like I'm in some grandma basement or something.
I feel like this is that 70s show and we're like, we're not recapping a Bachelor Goat episode. We're recording the Brady Bunch. We're recapping the Brady Bunch.
Well, another thing I just noticed when I was connecting to the Wi-Fi is that there's another Wi-Fi, not my parents, called CNN is fake news. Oh. So, you know, we're back in Clovis, baby. We're back in Fresno. Let's do this.
That's what their Wi-Fi name is? I'm dead.
They just want to share with the neighbors.
Just make sure that they know.
You should woke, sheeple.
You should start walking around the neighborhood, knocking on doors and being like, excuse me. You should actually drive by in like your car and get a huge NPR sticker on the back, and whoever like throws an egg on it, you know whose home that is.
I should actually just change my parents' Wi-Fi to Fox's fake news.
Oh, I like that. I think that's great
passive aggressive.
I love a passive aggressive. I don't really care
if they think CNN is fake news. It really doesn't bother me that much, but I'd really like to rile them up.
Maybe we are. This sounds like we maybe are bratty chicks. And I'm fine with it. I'm fine. I'm fine with it. Becca, I'm just happy to be sitting here about to be a bratty chick with you and have a conversation about a mindless Bachelor recap because I am in a mood. Like I think we need to get maybe a therapist on an upcoming episode because I don't know about any of our other broads, but I feel like the past like 2 or 3 weeks, dear friends and family of mine are like just coming out of the woodworks saying the most outrageous shit, refusing to grow. And
oh, damn. I feel like that person's me.
It's you.
In the family. No, I just mean like in my family, that's I'm probably that person.
They're like, oh my God, Becca. But no, I'm talking about with everything going on in the world, wanting to have conversations about, anti-racism, about all these anti-Semitic things, all the stuff going on, wanting to have conversations. And all of a sudden the past couple weeks, I've just been like having all these really, really intense conversation with like family and friends who are just saying things that are just like, oh my God, just refusing, just, fingers in the ears and just not, And I feel like I'm like, you know what? It is time. We need to find the right, maybe therapist or something to come on the podcast and maybe have a conversation about how to talk with people, close friends or family, when you have deep disagreements about things. And especially like, then where's the balance of boundaries if those conversations are necessary and important, that you need, there are things you believe in that are wrong that you have to talk to them about, but what if they won't listen? And then, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm down to talk about that.
All right. But then now for me seeing all these people, friends of mine who I'm like, I thought that like we were on similar like pages, just all of a sudden just going in one opposite direction and trying to have these conversations with them.
Like politically and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Politically. I think morally, in my opinion, I look at some of the things that they're posting and I'm like, no, that's so wrong. And, where do you find that balance of, having the conversations? And then, I don't know. It's just so much. I feel like a therapist would be good right now. There's a lot going on. We need to have a therapist talk to us about how to process all the COVID information, and not from a medical standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, from a standpoint thinking about others too. All that. I think a therapist would be good. Talkspace.
I'm into it. Want to sponsor a whole episode for us?
Bring on some therapists, please. Oh, my Lord.
It is a great time to talk about something mindless.
It is a great time. And also, just so you broads know, on Thursday, we do have an episode coming up. July is wrapping up already. I can't even believe it. And that comes the close of the end of Disability Pride Month, which, that's the designated month. So we're like, we have to have the perfect guest. Wheelchair Rapunzel, aka Alex Dacy, is coming on Thursday. I am so excited. I've been hoping that she would come on, and I can't wait.
Jess slid in those DMs.
I slid in those DMs. Woo! And I kept saying, hello, hi, it's me. Will you please come on? So she's coming on. And so we have her on Thursday. And also at the end of this episode, I'm so excited. We last minute were able to have a few minutes to chat with Sarah Herron, who's in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Love her. She was amazing to pop on for she only had 15 minutes and she squeezed us in. And so we love her, and she's going to be at the end of the episode. So we'll chat with her at the end. Yep. But yeah, mindless conversations. Let's talk some Bachelor tea for a second. I think that's probably important. I don't know if you've heard this, but Colton.
Oh, I did hear this. Made me livid.
Spotted out with Lucy Hale. And if you don't know who Lucy Hale is, she was from Pretty Little Liars. She's very famous. And I feel upset for some reason.
I don't know why I feel.
I feel very protective of Cassie. I don't know why. She might totally be dating
upset too.
Cassie might.
I don't know why.
Why?
I felt the same way. I was just like, really, Colton? That's classless. I have no idea why I felt that way.
I felt the exact same way. And I don't know why I feel so protective of Cassie. Like I said, Cassie might be out dating up a storm. No idea. Cassie might be dating this crazy famous A-lister the second after they, but I feel so
you know what bothers me about it?
Yeah.
Colton and Lucy Hale are both very much aware of the fact that if they're going out fucking walking on Runyon Canyon or wherever the fuck they were, they know that they're going to get spotted and photographed.
True.
100%. And so that really bugs me, because it's it's easy to just go chill in one of your, swanky house in the hills backyards.
Yeah.
You can totally just chill and be again, we don't know where Cassie and he stand. But like, you could totally just chill and like just wait a few months, and then what's gonna. I don't know. It's just like they know what's gonna happen.
Yep. No, I totally
They know what's
hear
gonna
you.
get out.
They know.
And I feel like it's so Colton to like flex and just be like, look, I'm dating like a real celebrity.
Because Lucy doesn't need that attention.
No.
Lucy's like, no, I'm fine. I have many shows. Okay. No, it felt just
sleazy.
It just bummed.
Felt sleazy to me.
Yeah, it felt like this whole drama just came out with him and Cassie. They were going back and forth, and now all of a sudden there's photos of him with like, A-lister. And apparently, I think this is completely speculated, so I'll riff, but I was reading that the way that like his connection to her is through Greg Skulkin or whatever, who's dating Cassie's sister.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I read though that Lucy talked highly of him when he got picked for The Bachelor.
Yes.
And then I heard that she slid in his DMs after Cassie and he broke up. I read this on some gossip magazine website, so I have no idea if that's true.
Why didn't she go on the season if she wanted to date Colton? Huh? That would have been so exciting.
She's not here for the right reasons. If she was committed, she would have showed up on his
She would have put the effort in, competed with all the other women.
I don't know. It just does. Because you got to wonder, like, is this a petty response to Cassie then calling him out?
I don't know.
It
might, I mean, it's hard to not think that when the timing of it was so like consecutive. Because obviously, totally get if Lucy slid into his DMs and he's like, hell to the yes, like super down for that. She's a beautiful, talented woman. But it just felt like timing wise, like it might be a little bit vindictive.
Not a coincidence. Any other Bachelor tea?
Well, the only other thing is that some of the men are already kicked off of Clare's season. We did our recap last week of the men, of their like photos, bios, which by the way, within 24 hours of our episode coming out, all the men made their face or their Instagrams private. So,
which is fascinating because I think they already started filming. So like, how did that work?
I don't know. Are they allowed to have their phones?
Did they give them their phones back?
Are they allowed to have their phones? Is this going to be a new twist?
Oh my God. That would be crazy. They're like texting Clare since they're just chilling in a villa.
Seriously. Well,
or in a resort.
I'm wondering, it seems the fact that the guys who already got kicked off posted that they got kicked off is so anti what normally happens in the franchise. You normally aren't allowed to say, like, these guys are posting that they've been kicked off of her season. So it's like, how far are they going to like let this go? Like, how are we going to know who the top 10 are?
But are they still private? Like, is it just people who are already friends with them showing that?
No.
I remember I got my phone back and I was, no,
these guys went off private. I don't know.
That's shocking.
It's trippy, right? I'm wondering if ABC's like, we're going to try something new now. Because what I was thinking about, and we need to have Reality Steve on to talk about this, but what I was thinking about is like, how many spoilers is Steve going to know? Like, how fast is this production turnaround going to be? Because they're filming it right now and it's going to air in September. And if there's no off-site dates where people are able to take photographs and things, like how much is Steve going to actually know minus people leaking from the crew?
Oh.
Is this going to be one that Steve has no idea like what the ending is going to be?
No, I feel like he has an insider. Yeah. He has to, right?
It's Fleiss. Mike Fleiss in reality.
I definitely feel like there's a little bit of a conspiracy of like they allow certain things to be revealed.
Yes, that perhaps Reality Steve is paid by ABC.
That's a twist and a half.
And occasionally he gets it wrong, quote unquote, because they want it to seem more realistic.
Speaking of which, did you ever listen to Nick's interview with him? I didn't.
I did not either. I got some messages about Nick Viall and Reality Steve had an interview together, and people were like, what are your thoughts? And I'm like, I still haven't listened.
Me neither. Damn it. Okay, never mind.
I'll listen and then maybe we can chat about it.
Okay.
But I know that we do need to have Steve on.
Yeah, we should.
Before. So a no spoiler Steve episode. And just like.
I'm not against Steve at all. Except.
Me either.
He made annoying jokes about me.
Did he?
Me being like underage. Yeah, he was just making this stupid like on the nose jokes about when they didn't release my age in the cast list. He was just like, Becca had her heart broken, blah blah blah, like in prom junior year, since that was only 2 years ago. Just dumb jokes like that. I don't know. But I don't care. It's his job.
My thing is that I'm not anti-reality Steve, because in my opinion, if you want to seek out spoilers, go for it. Like, find the spoilers. And for anybody, I know that Chris Harrison has said like, Steve ruins it for so many people because there's so many people working. And I'm like, if anything,
blah, blah, blah,
Reality
blah.
Steve has hyped up the show. Like, I feel like it's been nothing but beneficial to have different like versions of how you can watch the show. You can watch it unspoiled or you can watch it spoiled. And that's like an exciting twist. If you want to watch it spoiled, I totally get it. For us now,
100%.
we've decided that, that's just not as much fun.
Spoiler free.
Anywho, so
okay.
I think that's really all the tea. I mean, I'm just really excited to see if ABC starts letting these guys announce that they're getting kicked off.
That is so bizarre, because we were given very specific instructions. One, to keep our profiles on private, like from the moment we left for recording, we had to do that, or we had to delete or deactivate our profiles. And two, we were given really specific instructions that we were not to go off private until the airing of like the first night or something like that. It was really close to when it was going to be released that we were supposed to be able to go off private.
I mean,
so
new twists, new style of a show.
That's fascinating.
New twist. One last question before we jump to some quick ads. Do you think that this season is going to be like one of the most watched seasons? Or do you think people are going to be like kind of ovs?
I don't know. Did we get any feedback about how the GOAT episodes are doing?
I don't think they're doing that great, but it's also, they've already aired. I part of me wonders if Clare's season might be one of the largest, because it's people, I would imagine everyone's going to be first of all, not only have people not gotten Bachelor content now for a long time, like fresh new Bachelor content, but I would think that people are going to be so curious, myself included, as of how this is going to go down. It feels like it's going to be more like, if any of you've watched Love Island, because you're stuck in one spot, it's going to feel way more like that to me than this kind of jet set-y. I don't know. And maybe the rules are a little different. I don't know. I'm excited.
I don't know either. I really don't know. I have no idea how it's going to go rating wise.
I feel
like just because it's been such a gap, there was no Paradise. Mm-hmm. Well, it could go one of two ways. Like, there hasn't been a season in so long that maybe people will be itching, but also like maybe people just kind of forgot about the Bachelor franchise.
People are like, the what, huh? I think if it would have been, if they would have chosen like Maddie or maybe a Hannah Brown part 2, it would for sure be the biggest season ever, because people would be like, who's going to be back? Are they going to throw in some people we already know? What are they going to do? But it's a question mark to me because of Clare, and because she is older and some people aren't as interested because they don't have a relationship, quote unquote, with her because they didn't see her seasons or whatever.
Right. Maybe, you know what? This makes me wonder. I never thought about this before. When they have the next season of when they have Matt James season, I wonder if they're going to put like Hannah Brown or Maddie on it, since neither of them were in Paradise. I wonder if we're going to see a lot of reintros to girls that were on Pete's season because there wasn't Paradise.
I mean, that's what they should do. They should 100% throw in some of the OGs. Oh, Becca, the power dynamic that might go on. What if, remember the cats and the rats last season? Ugh, the worst. I hated that.
What if they put in 2 people from Pete's season?
What if they put in like 5? and they are this crew, and they're so mean to the other girls. Oh God.
I'm into that.
I'm into that too. Let's give us something new. Mix this shit up, because I'm assuming it's still going to be with Matt James. It will still be a quarantine style. Like, I would imagine by that point, they're still not going to be able to travel.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, let's do some ads and get into
Sean's season. All right. So, broads, something I've come to learn as a business owner is that I need to do the things I'm good at and release those time-consuming things that are necessary but not in my wheelhouse to someone else, if at all possible. For me, this encompasses all things formatting and distribution. The creative side of that, so much fun. The execution of the details, for me, that's going to be a hard pass. Not very good at that. It always leads to me huffing and puffing and resenting the project at hand. So discovering Issue has been a game changer in the way that I work. I love Issue.
Okay, Issue is pretty cool. It's the all-in-one platform where you create and distribute beautiful digital publications. We're talking everything from brochures to magazines to sales collateral. It's the perfect tool for creators, marketers, designers, basically anyone that wants to make eye-catching content. And work culture has obviously taken a huge shift lately, which has left a lot more people going out on their own or starting new ventures. That's great, but it can also be really scary. So you can let Issue be your helping hand in all things creative. Trust me, it's a lifesaver.
When you use Issue, you'll be creating your content one time, only once. Then you upload onto the Issue platform and they transfer your PDFs into customizable templates that are true to your vision. It really doesn't get much easier than that. If you're used to having to reformat, you know that it takes forever and it's very time consuming. So Issue is a true lifesaver time-wise.
Best of all, it's free to get started with Issue. You just go to issu.info/chatty to sign up for your free account. That's issu.info/chatty to sign up and let them know you heard about it from our show. Remember, that's .info, not .com. Go to issue.info/chatty to set up your free account today.
All right, so in the past year, I've really tried to make a conscious effort to have the best quality food and products around my house. However, that's not always possible because, first of all, the cost, it's expensive. And that could also mean hitting 3 or 4 different stores to get everything I need. But I found a solution, and I do the majority of my shopping online now at Thrive Market.
Thrive Market is an online membership-based market on a mission to make healthy living easy and affordable for everyone. I love them and I love their mission that they have too. Mm-hmm. They have the best selection of high-quality, healthy, and sustainable products online. Basically, if you could imagine all your favorite health food stores and online shops, combine them all into one, throw in some extra savings for good measure, you'd have Thrive Market. It's an absolute dream if you have a house of picky eaters or you yourself have dietary restrictions you have to follow. I'm allergic to multiple things.
Yes, you are.
Thrive Market. Yes, I am. Allergy broad over here. Thrive Market lets you easily shop for over 70 different diets and values like keto, paleo, gluten-free, fair trade, so many more. I also love their selection of clean beauty products. It is my go-to place for buying those.
Oh, they're so great. And they don't just have the food products or the pantry staples like Becca was saying. They have the clean beauty products. I personally did an overhaul of my cleaning supplies the other day so I could switch to cleaner, non-toxic options. And I saved $60, which more than paid for my membership. And every dollar I save after that is just icing on the cake. On average, Thrive members are saving $32 per order. And $32 an order, that adds up quickly, especially these days when you're doing a lot of online shopping, a lot more eating at home. You're at home a lot more, using more cleaning products. A lot more eating just in general for me lately. You know, that adds up, that $32 every haul. So, and you're able to still get your favorite products from Thrive. They have everything.
Well, if you go to thrivemarket.com/chatty, you can join today and you'll get a free gift to your choosing, up to $22 in value. That's THRIVE market.com/chatty. You can start your risk-free membership and you're going to get a free gift today. That's thrivemarket.com/chatty.
All right, so let's get into this Sean recap. I have to be honest with you, B. I loved Sean and Catherine's season, but this recap was a little bit of a snooze fest to me.
I said the same thing.
It was like...
Didn't do much for me.
No, I guess now that I think about it, Sean's season minus Tierra, which she was a lot of drama, didn't have a ton of drama. It was actually just packed full with a lot
about the love.
It was packed full of love. Sean was very consistent, and it was filled with women who were just like really wonderful, cool, agreeable women. And so there wasn't a lot of like crazy drama. It made sense that like a lifelong love story came out of this because it wasn't just like a Pete season shit show.
Okay, don't you find it weird that I could be wrong because you know I was zoning in and out of this episode.
Understood.
But didn't they not ever really address the whole fantasy suites born again virgin thing?
They absolutely did not, Becca, and I didn't understand why that wasn't talked about.
That was crazy to me. I wonder if it was like at his request or something.
I don't know. I would think that he'd want to talk about it because Sean and Catherine are both very vocal about their beliefs in God and their like personal choices that they've made. They're both very open about it. He talked about God a lot on the season. She, I think, I could be wrong, but I think she became a Christian after she
did.
Yeah. After they got married or something.
He posted about it. I saw him post about it on some platform about like her accepting Christ. So
I was really surprised that they didn't get into that more.
It was also like, I'm guessing, I didn't watch the season, but I'm guessing it was a major topic on the season.
It was a big topic. I think, in fact...
They didn't even talk about fantasy suites in general.
No, I didn't understand this recap. And I think, Broads, if you weren't... I guess you'd know this, of course. But Sean's season was the very first Bachelor Goat episode that they aired. And it was almost like they've gotten better as each week has happened. So it's almost like they're realizing via editing or something like, oh, we should add more this. Like, I that's what it seemed like to me, because I felt like they were missing so many things that would have been interesting conversations to have. And at least the past 2 GOAT episodes, we've loved both of them. They've been way more like fast paced and enjoyable.
But even Brad's season had 2 seasons.
True.
Packed into one. Because we were talking, Jess and I were talking off the air about, how we really like the two seasons packed into one recap episode.
I think
because
I think if they don't have like a Brad situation where there's 2, or they're not doing the first Bachelor, first Bachelorette, it would seem that maybe a better call for them would be to do, for instance, Nick's season into Rachel's season, like at least a double like that, so we get to meet Rachel,
or even do like Jason's season and Ari's season.
Yes,
since they both, like themes.
Yes, a beautiful parallel, as it were. Yeah, it just was like these single ones. I forgot because we
or
haven't
like
had
Andy
them.
and Caitlin's together.
Yes,
since Nick was on both of those or something.
Yes, and then make the whole thing about Nick.
I know, I thought that after saying it. I'm like,
Nick's been in so many of them. Nick. I feel like he could have like a 2-part Bachelor Goat, like week to week. Like, we're just gonna air
literally. He's been on so many seasons.
Bachelor. I wish they would also do a Bachelor in Paradise Goat episode.
Me too.
Like, those would be, I think, really interesting Goat episodes because there's so much drama, and you could pack all of that into a 3-hour, and I feel like it would still be very entertaining because you could follow along the different like love stories that are happening.
Yeah, they could do one Bachelor Goat episode just about Paradise, where they were like, highlights of Paradise, and just talk about like the wildest moments, like the most romantic moments, like the most,
we need to talk to the producers.
Consult us.
I know they won't speak with us, but
give us a call. I recommend it for the future of your show.
I'm going to start aggressively sliding into some DMs. I know I'm going to get blocked, but I'm just going to start hitting these producers up and be like, listen, I know you're not fans of us, but I have some thoughts.
You saw the ratings of Listen to Your Heart. You saw the ratings of the Bachelor Goat episodes. I highly recommend you contact us for any new shows you're developing.
Yes.
We are the
Consult
voice of the
us.
people.
The Broad Squad is wise. They have informed us their thoughts. They are powerful and mighty. So you're going to want to go with our ideas.
They just get really big-headed about it.
I know, we're in it.
Like, you know how Kanye West is like, I made that bitch famous about Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
That's how we can start behaving about The Bachelor. Like, we actually made The Bachelor famous.
Just about, and then it goes from Bachelor to just like ABC in general. We're just like, yeah, you know, they wouldn't be that great without us.
Modern Family, a success because of Chatty Broads.
It was mediocre in the first season. Do you recall? Disney, who are they, really? Just fine. Okay, but what I was thinking the whole time, and going off of what you said too about how they didn't include like any of the, well, because I believe Sean was considering himself to be, I don't know what the correct term is like re-virgin. Born again virgin. Thank you.
Bada bing, bada boom.
I know it's a little different from Colton, but he gives me so much Colton energy. Like, he was like the daddy and Colton is like the son.
Yeah, it's like all American boy values and morals.
Yes. And even like just like the energy in general, like the presence reminds me of like Colton. Like, in his interview, even then with Catherine, and I've watched them on a couple like spin-off type shows, and they remind me so much of each other, and they look similar to me. I don't know.
You know what it is? And Sean and Colton don't get offended by this, but this is going to sound kind of offensive. They're both a little like attention / fame. They're interested in that.
Yes. That's very interesting. Yes.
I was going to say like fame whore. That's just a little too rude and a little too aggressive, but they are both definitely interested in being in the spotlight, and they enjoy having an audience and enjoy entertaining that audience.
That is very spot on. And in that same vein, they are the ones who seem like they don't care about it. Like, they have that personality and that look and whatever that you'd think, oh, this wouldn't be their cup of tea. But turns out they're the ones that maybe care more about ratings than some of the other people. 100%. You know?
Have you seen Sean's Twitter presence? He is like, what kind of dad tweets can I come up with to get the most likes? And
oh, really? Is he active on Twitter?
Yeah.
Oh my
God. He thinks he's like the Chrissy Teigen of Bachelor Nation. Well, actually, maybe I shouldn't make that parallel now that she deleted her Twitter or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's going on with her. I'm sure I'll get DMs about this. But anyway, you know how she would always do like the mom relatable tweets?
Yes.
That's like Sean's brand on Twitter.
Yes. Okay. Well, the thing is too, like, and again, it's interesting you say that, because I always think of Sean and I always go like, oh, he's kind of like, doesn't care, but he does. Like, they had their wedding live. They've done numerous of like not Big Brother, but like the reality wife swap. They've done a ton of reality TV.
I forgot about that. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. They've done a bunch of reality TV stuff post, which, I mean, blessings. I would do the same thing. Are you kidding me? I'd take advantage as much as I could. I'd be 80 years old riding this thing home.
And they will be.
And they will be. And I would totally get it. But yeah, that's so interesting.
You think Sean was pissed when they did the interview with Chris Harrison after he's like lecturing his kids, like, you botched it. You botched it. This was mommy and daddy's love story and you ruined it.
You ruined it. I was like, Sean, please don't call your kids animals again. It's happened like 4 times in the interview, and I at first was fine, but now I feel a little uncomfy. I wasn't a huge fan of that.
There's like secretly some dark shit going.
They're just like, oh God, oh no. God, do I love Catherine though. I love Catherine. And
doesn't she just seem like a real girl's girl?
She is a real girl's girl. And this recap or this goat episode reminded me of how much I was in love with her. Now, I didn't think that Sean was going to pick her because again, it made it seem on this episode, they're able to craft this narrative. And we've said this before, like, I think they made Brad seem more likable on the goat episode than he actually was throughout the season. Like, they're able to craft it and show you just the certain pieces. And I remember watching Sean's season and being like, oh, Catherine, you know, she's like, he likes her, but I don't feel like their relationship is quite as accelerated as some of the other women with Sean. But she was always my favorite. Like, she was just, anytime she was with Sean, she was just having the best time ever. She was so much fun and was never involved in the drama, but like wouldn't have a problem when like Tierra was doing some wild shit. Like, she'd call it out, and she wasn't just like, I'm going to avoid everything. She was just the perfect balance.
Well, so it was, I mean, we'll probably end up skipping around anyway. So who cares? I just felt like Sean and Catherine clicked. Like when I was watching the recap, it just felt like they clicked. It felt like their relationship was so natural.
Yeah.
And it's a little weird because we recorded our interview with Sarah Herron before going into this. So
I know.
we will touch on this later also in the episode. But I just felt like watching Lindsay and Sean in comparison on the recap. It was like they had nothing compared to Catherine and Sean. Like, Lindsay and Sean did not have the same kind of chemistry or just natural connection. I didn't feel like their breakup was very moving personally. I don't know. I just didn't. When I was watching the recap, at least, I was just like, I don't see it with anyone else like I see it with him and Catherine. She was just always giggly. They were just, I keep using the word natural, but it just seemed like they had been together for so much longer than they had when they were interacting with each other on the season.
I think when you see it condensed too, it makes sense. And I wonder now, looking back, 7 years later, watching it and being maybe in a marriage with a kid for longer. Well, Ember wasn't born at this time, but being in a marriage then and for a while, watching it and just taking seeing Sean and Lindsay, and they just had a lot more of like, she did a lot more like crying and like, I love you type stuff. So it kind of makes you feel like display. So it made you feel as the viewer, like, oh, there's this deeper thing because she's maybe putting certain things out there more, versus then all of a sudden when you see Sean and Catherine condensed, you're like, oh no, there's so many more layers there that were happening. Like you said, it's like, you could tell that they were best friends. It was deeper. She was revealing certain things, and she was one of the ones who off the top, wasn't like, here's my heart. Like, I'm going to take you and tell you every deepest thing about myself. She kept it like very like playful, sensual, and like more top level the first few dates. And then she went there, which it made it feel like you said the word natural, but it felt like more of a natural progression.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even just their first kiss, it was like this, you could just tell it was like, it wasn't like a movie TV kiss where they were just making out in the shower kind of situation. It was like, I got a little bit of butterflies watching them, Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, that was a real kiss. That was like,
well, and then when they
special.
didn't then kiss the first time, when she had the little note underneath her dress with the lip mark on it, she's like, oh, what's that? And like made him find it. It was very like, okay, girl, I love that. And
taking notes.
I know, I'm literally like, okay,
no pun intended.
I'm going to do that later tonight. Okay. Evan's just like, what's this piece of paper up your dress? It's a lip mark. Yeah, she's like, what does that mean?
Pushing it down.
Here.
What are you doing?
I'm wearing pants and it's by my ankles. I'm just like, ooh la la. Check that out.
Just casually stretched out over his lap while you guys are watching
just
TV.
Like, do you know this? Almost fell off my chair. But like, oh man, I loved, and then she was like, I'm so attracted to you, and she's like, I wish you'd kiss me right now. And it was very like, oh my god, like it was those moments that reminded me of Trista and Ryan, that were like very like sensual, even though they weren't even like making out or touching each other. You're just like, ooh, I can feel the chemistry from a mile away. This is getting very spicy, very spicy.
Yeah, I just felt like I saw that between them, and it just made sense.
Yeah.
It made sense.
It made sense.
3 kids later, there was something there.
3 kids later, plus potentially more. Like he said, question mark, undetermined.
It's for the Instagram.
3 under 4. Whew.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. I mean, you're getting there, but
trying to take a break.
Trying to.
I'm going to be one of those bitches that gets pregnant on the Mirena. Just wait.
Probably.
Everyone gave a shit when we had our episode talking about the pull-out method, and then I'm like on one of the most reliable forms of birth control. Watch me get pregnant.
You're like, well, here we are.
Knock on wood, knock on wood.
Okay, so Sean, I'll say right off the top, he did have some big players in his season. Like Becca said, I mean, there wasn't like a ton that we saw in this, so I say we just kind of bounce around, hit the hot notes. But he had some big players. We have, of course, hit Catherine, but then we also had Desiree, who later became the Bachelorette, who I loved Desiree.
It's funny because I always thought that Desiree was the runner-up on his season. Mm-mm. Like when I think about it, I didn't watch it, but
I remember.
I was surprised that she was third.
Yeah, I remember really hoping that they were going to make her the Bachelorette. She was like the one that I really enjoyed watching. And yeah, she was fun and playful and she was cool. And I
While
really
we're on
enjoyed
the
her
topic,
season. Yes, let's talk about Desiree. Let's just dive into Desiree.
Yeah, okay. Okay, about Desiree. First of all, she's gorgeous.
I know. Just a doll.
Let's see. I mean, the thing that really stands out for me.
Oh, you mean her raging asshole of a brother?
I would go fucking berserk on my brother if he did that shit.
Broads, in this episode, we see Desiree have a lovely relationship with Sean. She was definitely, to me, it was like, is he gonna pick Desiree? Like, I don't know. Like, it was definitely a high possibility throughout the whole season, and there was never drama with like everything was just like going great. And then all of a sudden, she takes him to her hometown, and her parents are lovely. Her brother, if I remember correctly, her brother then comes in and just throws a bomb.
Dude.
Why?
Like, why? I could not figure out why he was doing that shit.
Well, and like she said, when her and Chris Harrison had their interview later, she was like, yeah, my brother and I were never really that close. And so I'm like, oh, so it's not even like my brother and I were like BFFs and he was very protective of me growing up because we were so close. And then he comes in and he's mad about it. It's like, oh, you don't have that type of a relationship with your brother. And he comes in and just like basically ruins your experience.
That's bizarre.
Wild. He was exhibiting.
Calling Sean a playboy.
He's like, I see you, you playboy. It's just like,
takes one to know one.
It's like, are you talking about the born again virgin? I'm pretty sure he's actually really here for love.
Right?
He's really trying to find someone, okay? But so her brother, like, in any circumstance, whether it be the father or the brother, I would say, in my opinion, whenever it's a male figure in one of these bachelor situations who comes in heavy-handed and is like, quote unquote, taking care
my
of the
baby girl. Oh yeah.
It just sets me off.
The best.
It just sets me off.
I think it's weird when any of the family members do it. I don't really like it when the moms or the sisters or anyone does it either. It's like, dude, back off. Let them live their fucking life. They're in their 20s. They're like, you're
Let
weird.
Them just live. And it's definitely any of the people in the family, but the male figures always really set me off. And it's just like, listen, like, you are feeling the need, and especially a brother coming in and just being like, no. Like, I can see right through you. And it's like, do you have zero regard for your sister or your daughter or like any of their, like, you don't think that they have any sense of anything that they want of their autonomy, and you're just going to come in and be like, not for us. And it's like it's like a group situation.
Now, on the flip side, the shit I am into is when they really go hard into their sister, daughter, whoever, the person who's actually their relative. Love that content. When the person comes home and they're like, yeah, but is he really your type, bitch? Like, that's the best.
When the sister sits down with her and is just like, listen, Brianna, here's the thing. I can tell he's not your type at all. In fact, he's really fucking weird. And you really want to, you're going to say yes to him? Seriously? All right. If you want us to go along with it, fine. But I'm not going to sit here and not say the obvious. We all know that he's not your type.
If we're talking about goats, Jack, Peter's brother, was the best shit I've ever seen.
Pilot Pete's brother, Jack, is still one of my heroes. I have never seen.
Savage!
It was so intense, and he literally just was like, oh, God. We all know. Everyone always thinks the older brother is the more mature one. Jack, am going to come in and lay Pete out and be like, we all know how you are, Peter, okay? I've had a serious girlfriend here for a while. I'm pretty consistent.
He's like, Peter, you love to fuck bitches. You love to do coke and get fucked up at the what's the cowboy dance place? At the line dancing place. We know you're always buying everyone tequila shots. Waking up hungover in the morning, forcing mom to make you enchiladas.
It was just like, you party so hard, Peter, and you're down with her? I don't understand.
Bro, she's not going to let you hit it till you're married. You know you're not going to do that for more than like 2 weeks. We all know you're a cheater.
Do you know what she's going to do if she sees you pull out a baggie of cocaine? Do you know what she's going to do? She's going to report you.
Bro, she's a narc. That was Jack, straight up.
You know how we live, Peter. Don't cramp our lifestyle, okay? I thought when you were going to get on this show, you were going to bring us more partying opportunities, man.
What's Jack's girlfriend's name? He's like, you need a down-ass bitch like Haley.
Haley's always down to roll, okay? Like, come on.
You know who's down to party? Hannah Ann. She's down to party.
Hannah Ann is completely down. Also, Hannah Brown, your initial choice. She'd be down. Now we're going to go with Maddie. She's a narc. She's going to report you. Jeez, Peter. Just blowing opportunities left and right. You know who's for sure down is Kelley.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Kelley gets fucked up.
Kelley's down to party for sure. Kelley's down to party.
Okay. While since we went there,
should we just get into that?
Really sucks for Desiree. Her brother really screwed. I mean, he screwed her over. She could have gone all the way if it wasn't for the brother.
But the beautiful piece is that she did end up becoming the Bachelorette, and she met Chris. And that was actually Broads. I would very much actually recommend Desiree's season if you haven't seen it. There is some drama on that season. And
I didn't watch it.
I feel like Desiree gets shafted all the time. Like, they don't talk about her season very often. And she is still with Chris, who she chose. Like, they are another Bachelor success story, and they don't talk about Desiree and Chris very often. Oh, she had one of the most wild breakups I've ever seen on that season. It's fantastic. And the guy
we should have just been doing our own GOAT episodes.
Seriously, the guy I don't want to ruin who it is if you end up watching Desiree's season, but the guy with the breakup that she has, he is a stone cold fox. So that made the whole situation even more intense, because you're like, oh my God, he's so hot. And then all this drama. Oh geez, it's so good. But was it
kind of like Peter and Rachel? That's how I felt about Peter and Rachel's breakup.
It was similar to Peter and Rachel's, but in my opinion, it was even more intense. Because Desiree was like so into him. And I know Rachel was into Peter, but it was like Desiree was just like devastated.
I think someone else sort of told. Yeah. Yes. Actually, Mikkel from our season basically gave me the rundown of Desiree's season, because she was like, this was the craziest, most savage season.
It was wild, and they don't talk about it. And it's a great season. So check it out if you haven't, Broads, if you have time and you want to watch something. But then she found Chris, and they're so happy together. And Desiree, to me, is a very shiny light in the Bachelor franchise. I feel like she, since her season aired, she's stayed out completely of like any drama. She has a beautiful family. They never have call on her to do any sort of like interviews or recaps, and she just kind of stays out of everything. And she only ever, like, when you see her comments on like other Bachelor Nation people, she only ever says like lovely things and very I don't know. She seems just like a wonderful human being.
She's low key.
And fuck you, ABC, for not including her more.
Interesting. Not as much of a fame whore, I suppose.
Nope.
Now
Not
I'm just
so
calling
much.
Sean and Catherine fame whores. I don't know them. Don't listen to me.
I don't know who they are.
I want to talk about real quick about Peter and Kelley and his mom's interview.
Yep. I would like to talk about that as well.
You want to pause real quick?
Let's pause real quick before we get into that portion of the episode. So, speaking of Peter's season and the cats and the rats and all that drama, let's talk about cats.
Let's talk about cats.
Let's talk about cats. You may know from Instagram that I am a pet lover. I have my 2 dogs, and they're the loves of my sweet life, and I get all the cuddles, especially since all of this shutdown happened. They are saving me. And honestly, working from home has been so great because I get to spend a lot of time with them. However, it would be a little one-sided to say that pets are awesome all the time. Let's get real. They can go hand in hand with some pretty offensive smells, especially if you have cats that use a litter box. And I'm sorry, it's true. Please don't come for me, cat lovers. The litter box.
I'm a cat lover.
Yeah.
I'm a cat lover, but litter boxes can be disgusting. I mean, I have 2 cats, and spending all this time at home means I'm also spending more time around a litter box. Disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't use Pretty Litter, I don't think I'd be joking about this because litter boxes are one of the worst things to be consistently getting a whiff of. But like I said, it's not an issue because I use Pretty Litter. Keeps my house smelling fresh thanks to its ultra absorbent crystals that trap odor instantly. And they last up to a month too, which is pretty incredible. And once I made the switch from conventional litter, I noticed an immediate difference and never looked back. Also, I'm sure you're probably going to add on to this right now, but the tracking situation with litter is way better with Pretty Litter.
Oh, for sure. I was going to say, I've never been to your house and ever smelled any hint of a litter box. So I should say that that's proof right away. And I've also never seen any of the little kitty paw prints on your floor like I've seen in some of my other friends' homes. So this is definitely the reason for this is definitely Pretty Litter's dedusting process. Okay, it's 100. So no odors, no dust, no mess. It's almost like there's no litter box around at all. But above all, here's why Pretty Litter is the best. It changes colors to help detect early signs of potential illness, including urinary tract infections and kidney issues. It's taking care of your kitties. All of this while arriving straight to your door. What could be better?
Save yourself. Make it a no-stink summer with Pretty Litter today. You can visit prettylitter.com. Use promo code Chatty. You'll get 20% off your first order. That's prettylitter.com. Use promo code Chatty for 20% off your first order. prettylitter.com. Promo code Chatty.
All right. So, Peter. Chris Harrison decides to catch up with Peter.
And I love how he's like, the quarantine love story of the century. Bitch, no one gives a fuck about them.
Honestly, I was just dying because immediately he's in his parents' home because you see the Strength and Love like wooden poster behind him that Barb definitely like got put up after she was getting so much hate. She was getting so much hate after her escapades on the season, and she was like, I need this reminder because my focus is strength and love. Not when I'm addressing Madison, but every other time it's love.
My focus is on love. My love with my husband? No. I'm focused on the love that my children have with their partners.
That's more important.
Do you follow her on Instagram? I do. And it is really weird, the number of photos she posts of her children with their girlfriends.
She's very proud of her son's pickers, apparently.
It's just something I can't relate to at all because my family like could not care less.
I don't know.
My older siblings have been married for like over 10 years and like I don't even think their spouses are like in our family group chat.
Yeah, no, I think there's still a few members of my very small family that call Evan Even. I'm pretty sure. And we've been together for 14 years.
What's that guy's name again? You're like, we have a kid together. We've been together for over a decade.
I'm like, oh, you have a child? Oh, no. No, we've never babysat her. No, never. God forbid. Oh,
a real call out.
Yikes. I'm going to get a couple texts later.
Oh my God. Yeah. Meanwhile, Barb over here is like, she's already written Kelley into her will. She already makes sure Kelley's probably the person who is like her medical, what do they call it? Yeah. Kelley's going to be the one who has to make the decision whether or not they pull the plug on Barb.
Kelley's already given Barb
power of attorney. She has power of attorney.
Well, she is an attorney, so it makes sense. Barb was like, oh my God, perfect. I could not believe, I don't know if you picked up on this, and maybe I misunderstood this, but when Chris Harrison said, all right, are you ready to reveal who, your person is? And Peter goes, oh, you mean my mystery woman? And he turns and he goes, hey, chop, chop. And like says it to Kelley to mean like, hey, come quickly. Yeah. And Chris goes, they already have pet names.
The man is thicker than a brick wall.
And so then I was like, wait, he said my mystery woman. So does Chris mean that mystery woman is one of their nicknames? Or does he think him saying chop chop is her nickname? And I'm like, this feels offensive. Like, I don't know. This is just weird. Like, how did you not? Oh, okay.
Whoosh.
It was a quick side note that I was like, I rewound it and I was like, did I miss? Was that an editing thing? I don't know. Maybe Pete
go ahead.
did say a nickname and it was not appropriate. And so they edited it out.
Oh, they already have pet names.
Precious.
The happy couple. Also, just on the subject of Chris Harrison, did you like count how many times he kept bringing the subject back to Josh?
Yeah, and you know what? It was actually really, that I thought was very sweet. It was there, think about this, it's the first episode of the whole goat, and so it was the first time we were really introduced to Josh. And so I think
that's right.
Yeah,
You're
and so
right.
I think he kept saying like Josh is running this whole thing, and I think maybe he was very
Josh
proud
who just
of his
graduated.
son.
Yeah, Josh. Well, I mean, actually,
he's like, I've been training him since day one.
Their dad's gone for like, what, probably 3 months out of the year, if not more.
Yeah. So they're probably spending way more time together.
I mean, granted, what is he doing the rest of those 3 months out of the year? Probably just kicking it at home when he's not doing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. But
yeah, I don't know. I think he does a lot. I mean, it's a lot of stuff.
Chris is a busy guy.
He's a very busy guy. He's writing books. He's doing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
I was thinking maybe we should do a book review. I think we should read The Perfect Letter and then do an episode where we review it and bring up our favorite chapters.
I think I'm more than willing to dive into that novel, and I'd be completely fine with that.
Great.
In fact, should we do like a broad book club, and that's our first book?
Mm-hmm.
And all the
we only read Bachelor shit, then we can read I don't know. Everyone has a book. Colton has a book.
We could do Colton's next. Yep.
Yeah, I heard Colton's was good.
I went to.
God damn it! I need a book.
You definitely need a book.
I would write a good book. I just be making stuff up about my Bachelor.
It's just completely like just full of obscenities, and it's just like just so intense, and people are like, "Wow, this is an X-rated book."
I'm just talking about snorting Xanax on the plane with one of the producers. I'm just completely making things up.
Just making up shit.
I think
that would go over well. I think that's probably a good call.
Anyway, so back to Peter and Kelley. And
yes. So
the throuple.
Pete reveals the throuple. So Pete reveals that it's Kelley, and I'm just sitting here going, from what I recall, and I didn't listen to all the podcasts, so I could be wrong, but Kelley went on kind of like a podcast tour and talked about something about how like the Bachelor producers were like making her wait in a closet and she hated the experience. And I'm like, now we're sitting across from Chris Harrison on the show. Is this uncomfortable at all for anybody? Is this uncomfortable for Chris, for Josh, for Kelley? I don't know.
Didn't seem like it.
No, it didn't. But she did say some intense stuff about production, but the whole dynamic, and before Barb even showed up, was literally like Chris being like, so Kelley, are you okay with basically this dude not being able to make up his mind and choosing every girl except you and then finally coming back to you? And Kelley saying that she totally understands that Pete had every right to be like bothered by how she didn't open up. And then Peter's kind of like, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. And he's like, the past isn't and it was like, wait, Kelley's the one that's getting shit on right now?
I have really changed my opinion about Kelley following the season. I really liked her on Pete's season, and I don't really like her so much anymore.
I don't know how I feel about Kelley so much as my opinion on Pete has changed drastically.
Well, did it really change that much from the end of the season?
No. The end of the season was where the drastic change happened. Right. But just the way in which that conversation, and maybe I misread it, but it was just this weird, like, if anybody should be getting on an interview and being like, guess what, Chris? Yes, I blew it over and over and over again. And thank God Kelley continued to give me chance after chance and was willing to whatever. It was the reverse. It was like, oh, well, he was like, all things are forgotten.
She's being brainwashed.
He's like, it's water under the bridge, what she did. I'm like, what she did? She just wasn't as comfortable on the show. No, but it's just like, okay, she's somehow the one who is at fault. I don't know. I
that's weird.
Was so thrown off by the energy that he wasn't basically like on all fours being like, yeah, I was really dumb and I should have changed. The voice on TikTok, well, I was really dumb and I should have definitely chosen Kelley from the beginning.
No, I don't know. I'm never on TikTok.
You don't know that voice?
Sounds about right.
You don't know that TikTok voice? All the TikToks, they add this weird thing when they're trying to explain and it makes their voice sound like this. They're explaining something. I don't know what it means. I'm too old to get it.
He definitely should have been groveling, and that was not what was happening. And furthermore, you want to talk about fame whore? I'm sorry. I think Barb, I really do think Barb is hilarious, and I did give her a lot of passes, but when Chris said something about Barb and she's just like, hey, Chris, da 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 da. Like,
she flew into the camera scene like poof and like crashed into Pete and Kelley and was like, give me a K, give me an E, give me an L.
That woman. We get along great, Chris. We really do. Love her.
She's holding her hands. But we did know from the top, right after the season aired, she was posting on Kelley's Instagram being like, let's go get coffee. Let's go shopping together. You're my favorite. So Barb chose Kelley. Barb passed the crown to Kelley. And then Pete was like, all right, mother. And then like,
yes, mother.
Yes, mother. Well, my most favorite part.
It reminds me of like a Bates Motel situation.
Yes, very reminiscent of this. I would have to agree. Well,
watch out, Kelley.
I took a screenshot of him sitting with his arms around both Barb and Kelley.
What a true nightmare. Like, yeah, you think like, oh, she's sweet. She's accepting Kelley into the family. No, my mother calls me, I don't know, maybe once or twice a week. And that's great. Love that amount of contact. Freaking Barb is calling like twice a day as if you're her own child. Like, just checking in. Like, Mom or mother-in-law, you live down the street from us. We just saw you for breakfast. Like, we force us to come over every day.
We live in the same house as you. You just made me breakfast against my will.
Dude, like if Kelley and Pete get married, whoever Pete gets married to, when they like move somewhere, he's going to be like, so I was thinking maybe we could do like a back house. Like my parents are getting old. They're like, your parents are 62. They're getting old. And like, I really think we need to keep more of an eye on them.
Girl, well, did you note that they said that they're planning on moving to New York for a while? And I was like, I wonder how Barb feels about that. Is Barb the one who started COVID because she wants to make sure that they don't leave the house?
I've always wanted a condo in Soho. Oh my God.
It's crazy that you bring that up.
I've always fancied myself a Manhattan girl.
It'll be perfect. I can help with the kids. Kelley's like, I don't have any kids. She's like, that's what you think.
No, she's going to be like, Kelley, it's just going to be us girls. It's going to be like Sex in the City. She's going to be like, oh my God. I've always fancied myself a Sarah Jessica Parker type.
Oh, please. You know that Barb fancies herself the Samantha of the group. That's for sure.
100%. We're going to get martinis at a happy hour with the girls every day.
Oh, God.
Lord
it
Jesus.
makes me thankful.
Anyway, that was great.
Oh, God. Well, I was very happy to actually have finally seen that because I remember seeing that he talked to Pete and Kelley, and I was grateful to have watched that with my own eyes.
Well, okay, so we are going to have, as we mentioned, Sarah Herron on for an interview, which I'm so excited for. But you know what we need to talk about? Who we needed to talk about before we get into that is...
Tierra. But of course.
Tierra. Which is a cool name, I have to say.
Oh, yeah. Great name. Tierra, I'll say this, they could have included a lot more about the drama with Tierra.
And I wish they had.
Yes, because, we got some beautiful glimpses. We got to know Leslie a little bit. We got to know Desiree. Of course, like you said, we're going to talk to Sarah. And Sarah, I loved that they had her on with Chris, and she was able to address briefly the fact that, she was, I think, the first and only person on The Bachelorette with a disability.
With a visible disability, yeah.
Yep. And I loved, I love Sarah. Sarah will just like say it how it is. And she just kind of put it out there to Chris and was like, yeah, I felt very uncomfortable. And it was like, yes, Sarah.
Get him.
She's such a badass. Anyways.
I also want to hear more about her, like, as we will say in the interview with her, we definitely want to have her on for a full episode. I'm also curious about her relationship, and I want to hear about her experience on VIP because I loved watching her on there, and I very much remember all the little drama with her.
Yes,
it's great.
Yeah, we're gonna get a whole episode with Sarah, and we're grateful that she was able to even hop on. So we have all these wonderful women, and then Tierra comes in, and
okay, so the villain editing thing is always here all over the place. Now Tierra seems like a true nightmare. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yes, and I don't think that anyone who watched the season would disagree with you. I remember feeling the second that I would see her face on the screen, I felt immediate stress. And there's a difference to me between loving the villain, because you got to love the villain sometimes, of course. They're some of our favorites. But Tierra stressed me out. Like,
because she has true chaotic energy.
Tierra, I mean, I was dead that Chris Harrison, even like he started the whole Tierra thing and he was just like, called it her reign, Tierra's reign. And he's just like, time to grab a snack and a beverage. And by the way, he pulls out a bowl of plain tortilla chips and a mug of, I don't know, coffee. I'm like, that looks like a horrible snack.
Did Josh make this for you?
Sweet Josh. He's just like, I didn't know that Dad's I had to be favorite. The assistant too.
Now, also, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is that she declined to do any interview. Where's Tierra now? And we need to hear her side.
Are Alex, Michelle, and Tierra dating? Is that what's going on? Have they united and they refuse to be part of the Bachelor franchise at all anymore? Like, you'd think that Tierra would 100% take this interview. And I mean, I guess you'd be nervous, like, oh, you're gonna make me look bad, whatever. But it's been so many years later, I would think.
She's probably just boycotting The Bachelor. She's like, you ruined my life.
It's true.
Which you can't really blame her for.
I'm sure that she did just fine afterwards. You know, now the reason that Tierra stressed me out and she scared me as a villain is because Tierra had that sparkly eyed, big smile where night one you go, oh, she is going to be a true gem.
You go, oh, who's that girl? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, look at her. She's so bright eyed and smiley and positive, and she's going to bring like a great energy to this season. And you feel like you love her. And then all of a sudden you start to find out more about her and you're like, oh gosh, this is frightening because you look so nice and happy all the time, except for your one eyebrow that goes up occasionally through the smile, as Ashley called out later. But she clearly was one that in the house was not pleasant. And I remember seeing the scenes, and I feel like as the seasons have progressed, you see a little more behind the scenes with the cast now. But I remember seeing her with Sean, and it would be like she had the bright-eyed, sparkly thing. And then the second she'd be with like all the women, she'd be walking around the house and she would just have like that kind of scowl face on and wouldn't be interacting with anybody. And it wasn't
I know people.
But it wasn't like that I'm not here to make friends. It was like, oh gosh, are you going to throw me under the bus next time you talk to Sean?
Okay, I know this is kind of fucked up and I'll probably get shit for it because I feel like, I don't know. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Crystal. Kind of.
Oh no,
just a little
totally.
Bit. Like,
no, yeah.
And the issue that everyone had with Crystal was like, you're acting like you're all zen and peace and love around Ari. And the minute you get around us, it's like your voice changes, your temperament changes. Like you are not being like authentic about who you are.
Mm-hmm. No, it makes sense to me. It totally makes sense to me that would be a comparison that you thought of.
Well, she had not one, but two medical emergencies, which I frankly loved.
Well, I remember, Becca, you know what's so funny is, listen, so if someone has anything like an emergency, like whether it be physical or emotional on the shows like this, I'm like, oh God, and my heart sinks. And I remember watching
I'm like, oh good, one less in the competition.
No, I wasn't thinking that. It was just like, I remember not believing her and feeling horrible about not believing her. Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, I'm one of those people and I'm not believing her. But then like you'd see the bounce back that was happening, and then and you were like, I can't trust this person. Absolutely not.
I couldn't decide what I thought about the hypothermia thing. I couldn't decide.
I couldn't decide either. In this, even rewatching it, I was like, I kind of felt like the first one was just like a basic fall, and then she made it into this huge thing to get attention. And then I felt like the hypothermia one was probably like she was uncomfortable and then took it, and then was probably really uncomfortable. But maybe she was having a panic attack or something. I felt like believe the second one, but I don't know. No, I couldn't quite gauge the second one.
I also sort of felt like with the second one, I felt like the girls were playing up how much fun they had with the polar plunge, you know?
Yes.
So that also was like an interesting thing, because I was like, I feel like they're really hamming it up about how it was just the best thing ever.
Yes.
They knew Tierra. So
interesting perspective. I don't know,
but I will say the oxygen tube in her nose after when she was talking to Sean had me cracking up.
Oh, when she had the oxygen tube and was eating a sandwich and the guy was blow drying her feet when she was in a robe, it was I was just like, oh my God, if I could be in that state constantly, someone blow drying my feet, eating a sandwich and getting extra oxygen in a robe, I would choose yes.
Okay, her confrontation with Ashley was crazy. That's when I was like, because, I didn't see the season, but when it got to that, I was like, okay, this bitch is crazy.
This specific episode, so this season Evan and I watched together. It was the first full season he watched with me. And I remember he was gone the night that this episode aired. And I was sitting alone at home and I was like, what? With all the drama, because there hadn't been a lot of drama during the season. And I remember calling him and being like, I don't care how late you get back. The TiVo is set and we're rewatching this part. And he got home at like 2 a.m. I was like, you have to watch this part. It's insane. Oh my God.
When she said girls are jealous, men love me.
I was like, can I get that in a shirt?
Okay. And this is another reason why she reminded me of Crystal, because she said whatever Ashley said about her parents. She goes, no, my parents said, Tierra, you have a sparkle. Do not let them take your sparkle. I was crying, which reminded me, if aficionados will recall, on Ari's season, Crystal would say, like, she did this thing where she went, and she went, glitter. That was glitter. And she had this whole thing with glitter. So
Glitter, I was like,
what is this? Yes, glitter and goose. R.I.P. their relationship. Glitter and the sparkle thing. Anyway, but I mean, the one-liners were just...
The one-liners were pretty phenomenal, I have to admit.
I can't control my eyebrows.
This is my face. This is my face.
So good.
And let me say, Ashley was not making fun of the way that Tierra looked, because I could say, having watched the entire episode, you would watch the difference between when Sean was in the room and her face look was a certain smile, even when she wasn't smiling. And then when she'd be alone with the other women, she could not contain her irritation. She had one of those faces that just read all over her. And when she would be around the other women, there'd be this look, and then the one eyebrow would go up, and it was the most villainous look ever. And I loved it. I would get a portrait of it on my back, but it was definitely a facial expression. And oh my God. And then she goes, this is my face. I can't help it. And she's like, and then of course she had to throw in, this is my face. I've never had Botox. This face has never had any Botox. Yeah. And I'm like, what is...
Bitch, we were talking about your Botox.
And I was like, all right, sliding in, letting the girls know that she's aware that they have Botox. And this is all God-given. This unflawed skin.
She is hot. She is hot. I will say that.
Oh, she was stunning. She was stunning. That was the thing. That was what made her, like, that's the classic villain, right? It was just like, she happens to also be beautiful, and also men love her.
I have to say, Ashley, it still bugs me every time. Ashley, though, ratting on her to Sean, it always grinds my gears. I hate it. It bugs me.
I know.
I was like, Ashley, don't be a little bitch.
I feel the same way, though. When I mean, it's weird because I want the lead to know what's going on and not get duped. But it's whoever makes the choice to say something, I'm always like, it's just not for me anymore. You know, even though, I mean, let me be clear. I would have done that 100%. I can't keep my mouth shut.
Well, it's different. Okay. Because this happened on Ari's season with Crystal. It's different if there's, apparent drama to the lead. And then the lead goes around asking everyone, which is what Ari did. Like, what's the deal with Tierra? What's the deal with Crystal? That's different. Because then that person asks you, go to town. Be like, I shouldn't be saying this. I don't like to talk about other women. But
I hate gossiping.
There's something you should know. Yeah. But when someone goes out of their way, you know what? I always just have this pride thing where I'm like, you should just be able to prove that you're better than them without having to throw them under the bus. That's cheap. It's not fighting fair.
Yes. And I guess at the end of the day, if he ends up choosing...
I'm also biased because it happened to me, but...
like, hello. But it's like, I guess if he ends up choosing Tierra, well then, it's his mistake and he's got to live with it. And that's just part of the deal. And you'll go on and potentially be the next Bachelorette, aka Desiree, who didn't say anything about anybody. And she became the next Bachelorette.
True. Well, he sent her home pretty quick.
He did. And I loved how he sent her home. She's just like, he's so sunburnt. And you can tell he's like, I have been patient enough with the amount of drama that's been happening, and I'm just ready. I'm done. I know that she's not my person. And he goes, because I care about you so much, I think you should go home now. I'm like, I'm going to use that all the time.
That's good.
I'm like, because I love you so much, I think you should stop texting me.
Grayson, because I love you so much, I really feel like you should do the dishes. I think that's what's best for you. I think that's what's best for me. I think that's what's best for us.
Because I love you so much, I think you should take Ember and I should have the house to myself for a week. I think that's truly
it's going to improve our
necessary.
relationship. It's going to improve your quality of life.
It's beautiful.
Mine, that's not what it's about, but
all of ours. Well, I mean, she just definitely left the name for herself. That was for sure. And then Chris Harrison caught up with Ashley about it, and which I felt bad for Ashley that Chris Harrison literally just dialed in just to ask her about the drama with Tierra. And like, Ashley was a big player in the game and she didn't get to talk about herself at all. I mean, we saw her gorgeous kitchen behind her. That's really all we know.
Yep. I wanted to know more about that.
I'm like, let us know who designed, where did you get the tile from? We're all trying to remodel, but she just was able to talk about Tierra. And also we found out that Tierra I forgot about this. She didn't want to sleep around the other girls. She wanted her own cot in a like she literally requested a cot outside of the room. And it's like, okay, well, yeah.
So good.
Like, what do you think? Do you think the girls are going to be huge fans of you when you like are literally requesting to be removed from their presence? No. Well, before we have our conversation with Sarah, let's have a little wrap up about Sean and Catherine, perhaps.
Yeah, can we talk about their proposal? I want to talk about that.
Let's talk about their proposal.
It was just really cute.
It was so cute. And also, I just wanted to say too that I remember her hometown loving her mom and her sisters, and they had just such like a fun dynamic, and her sisters were like that. Like, I remember him walking out and they were like quote unquote like getting on the bed and just being like, all right, tell us everything. And she was just like, yeah, I'm gonna say yes if he proposes. I love him. I can't get over him. He's a hunk. Aww. Like, and she was just, what did she say? She's like, I love the way he smells and I love his big beefy arms. They were so cute.
I think that the family, if anyone's smart, should really be the deal breaker or the deal sealer, because, and I think people don't take that into consideration enough, but you want to pick the girl you shouldn't just pick it around the family, but that should really be a tell. Like, who do you vibe with? Who's on the same wavelength as like you? That's not always the case, of course. There are always exceptions, but it's definitely a nice validation if you're into someone and their family's really cool.
Yeah, and it's like it's some, obviously in numerous circumstances, like you have no control over your family and what they do or their response or anything like that. But if you do like someone, I feel like what a good tell always is too is when you have someone on the show that the other women or men don't like. That's always an interesting hometown, because it's like, okay, that's a good way to like kind of get a little bit of a peep into like, what's the dynamic with your family? Like, are you, can I tell that like your family knows you to kind of be a bossy queen and they're just kind of bending to whatever your will is? All right, maybe that's, I don't know, just a thought. But yeah, her family was so sweet. And I loved when Sean asked her like where she sees them in 5 years, and she's like, married, probably with a kid. And I was like, oh my God, it's crazy because that happened. Like that was the same thing with the Trista and Ryan. When you hear them basically forecasting their future together, it's always so special. I noted that also. Yeah. It's special that really they have that forever, like in video. But oh yeah. And then I want to say that too, when Catherine was talking with Sean and talking about how she never thought that he would be with someone like her. And she was saying how she's never been in a bathing suit in front of someone more than in front of him, and how she would get made fun of sometimes. And I remember seeing on her Instagram her talking about how when she got cast for the show, she thought the only reason that they were casting her was because she was Filipino. And she was like, oh, I'm the diversity check mark, and there's no way that he's going to ever choose me. And yeah. And so then she's like, that was so far like out of my mind that would ever happen. And it's such like, it was like a heavy reminder of like, with like, for example, like batch diversity, like what they do in that whole campaign. And then, you know, people holding now ABC accountable. It's like the narrative that you create is that someone like Catherine, this beautiful human being, doesn't think that someone like Sean, like she's worthy of that, and how upsetting that was to hear. And just assuming that you can go on the show and that you're just going to be a check mark. And it's like, hey, listen up, ABC. You know. Yeah. But she, I thought it was, I love that she posted about that right after the episode aired.
I didn't see that. I want to go check that out.
Yeah, she posted it the day that her episode aired on Instagram, and basically was encouraging people like, you're not just a check mark. Like, yeah. It was beautiful. And I think Catherine is the only non-white person who's ever been chosen on The Bachelor, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know about that. That's interesting. I'll have to think about that.
Yeah, I think she was the only one. Which is wild. Yeah. But anywho, but their proposal was so cute, how she sent him the letter beforehand. I'm
curious what she thought. I'm curious what she thought at the end, like whether or not she thought it was going to be, if he was going to pick her.
I don't know. I think, I remember when Chris Harrison handed Sean that note, I was like, oh my God, is she? Because he had just like rejected, quote unquote, and sent Lindsay home. I was like, oh my God, did Catherine leave? I thought maybe the note was like a goodbye note. And I was like, oh God, he's going to be left alone. But
that would have been juicy.
Yeah. But yeah, so it seemed in her note that she was pretty confident. She was like, when we get engaged and when...
To be honest, I think a lot of times the leads do think it's going to be them, only because the past however long beforehand, basically once you get to hometowns, you're separated from all the girls except for rose ceremonies. So you only know what's happening on your end. So I think a lot of times, unless the lead is acting particularly weird, I think a lot of times people do think it's going to be them.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if it's not.
Yeah, I think... I mean, that makes sense. Like Lindsay was absolutely shook. She couldn't believe that it wasn't her. Catherine assumed that it was going to be her. But I mean, they were just, when she said, I know neither one of us is perfect, but we're perfect for each other. And she was just looking absolutely gorge. And yeah, Sean, love this when he said that he's like, I always miss you so much when I say goodbye, and I don't want to say goodbye anymore.
That's so cute.
It was so cute.
I liked how her hand was shaking so much when he proposed. I thought that was really sweet.
She could not stop shaking. She was like, she kept gasping, and she looked like she was going to pass out. In fact, the matter is this. When Evan proposed to me, I thought I was going to black out the entire time. I don't know why. I knew at some point that he was going to be proposing to me. And I also knew that there was no one watching, because I hadn't made that very clear instructions before he ever proposed, that I don't want anyone hiding in the bushes, kind of jump out and like hug us. I wanted it to be a very private moment. But I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just your body reacting to like the idea of, oh my God, a permanent decision. I'm accepting to not, I mean, obviously it's not permanent, but an attempt to whatever the contract of marriage is. But I remember feeling like I was going to black out. I was seeing spots. And then I remember being like, is this a bad sign?
It's a big, I mean, it's also just like adrenaline, all that kind of thing. Ooh. And I'm imagining for The Bachelor, you have so much anxiety. Like, is this person going to pick me? And what actually happens? I mean, what a rush. Pretty crazy.
Such a rush.
Well,
such a rush.
Anyway, kind of a boring episode, but glad that they had a not so boring and very happy ever after ending.
Yes.
For them.
And their kids were very, very cute. They were very sweet in the little interview. What's his little Sam, who was like popping and like had the little earphone and was talking to Chris. My favorite
I thought it was funny they had like legit earphones.
Yeah, they were ready. They've been doing these interviews. My favorite part of all these goat episodes has been seeing all of the people interviewed who have children versus the ones who don't, and like they can't get an interview.
I know. Speaking of which, I'm dealing with a fussy baby right now. I'm so excited to share the Sarah interview with y'all, and let's dive into that.
Let's take a quick pause, and then we're going to hop into this interview with Sarah. Broads, it may seem like a big reach to find things to smile about lately, and trust me, I get that, but this will end eventually. So in the meantime, why not focus on doing something you've maybe had on your to-do list for forever, but hadn't had the time to get started, like how about the teeth? Even if you had braces on your teeth, like myself, your teeth are constantly shifting. I'm proof of it. So let me tell you, it's all about Candid clear aligners.
Yeah, if Candid had been around when I had gone through getting braces, oh my gosh, life would have been a whole lot more comfortable, that's for sure. Candid makes the perfect aligners that are not only comfortable and totally invisible, but they're removable. So if you had braces, you should know the list of foods you can't eat is pretty extensive. And look, I'm not saying you should dive head first into a bag of taffy, but hey, the option's there if that's your prerogative. Also, I love if you're an older person, like I remember my dad got braces and that was just not the best look for him, which wish he had Candid as the option for me to tell him
Yes. Well, listen, even though you might be wanting that bag of taffy, that might not be the best idea because Candid actually works directly with licensed orthodontists who prescribe and monitor your progress remotely. Some other alignment programs only provide check-ins with general dentists, or worse, you won't get consultation at all. Definitely not ideal. You'll have the guidance of an orthodontist all along the way with Candid. And if this sounds awesome but seems daunting, great news. The average Candid treatment is just about 6 months, and you'll start seeing results way before then. And the best part of it all, the best part is that Candid costs on average 50% less than other leading alignment programs. 50%. Huge.
Yep. And if you're ready to take the first step towards your dream smile, get started today from the comfort of your own home with Candid's risk-free starter kit and $75 off. You just have to go to candidco.com/chatty and use code chatty. That's candidco.com/chatty. Use code chatty for your risk-free starter kit and $75 off. Not $70, $75. That's amazing. Candidco.com/chatty. Use code chatty.
So, broads, I'll never forget when I was a new mom, and as soon as I would put my daughter in her crib, the anxiety would kick in, worrying about her safety. But so much of that anxiety is avoidable now thanks to Newton crib mattresses. If I'd owned one of these, I think I would have been a much more well-rested mother. So learn from me. When your baby is sleeping, you should be able to sleep too, not obsessively watching your baby monitor. And I know that's easier said than done, but using a Newton crib mattress will help you get there. If you're looking for the #1 baby mattress out there, Newton Baby is offering listeners $50 off your Newton crib mattress plus free shipping at newtonbaby.com while you enter code chatty.
These mattresses are fully breathable. Independent tests show that a baby gets 97% more air while breathing through a Newton crib mattress than a traditional crib mattress, which can provide you with a peace of mind and reduce that inevitable parental paranoia. I've dealt with it, and I swear by these mattresses. Me and Gray have done the little breathe test on them. They're incredible. In fact, it's what we use for both of my babies. I have the Newton mini crib mattress now for him, and I've recommended them to so many of my mom friends.
And look, we don't want to fearmonger, but facts are facts. And the most popular crib mattress on the market has a suffocation risk 17 times higher than Newton, and that's just way too high. Newton crib mattresses are Green Guard Gold certified and voted #1 by leading pediatric experts and sleep coaches worldwide. And if that's not enough, check out the 5-star reviews on Amazon. This is the best baby mattress you'll find.
So many parents have claimed their Newton baby mattress is a complete lifesaver. I'm one of them. It completely eliminates any fears and angst as a parent. And remember, that's newtonbaby.com and enter code chatty. You can also try 100 nights of sleep on Newton Baby, or your kid can try 100 nights of sleep on Newton Baby. And if you're not happy, Newton offers free returns. Just go to newtonbaby.com and enter code chatty to get $50 off today. You can't put a price tag on your child's safety. Highly recommend.
Highly recommend. Well, broads, I know that Sean recap was a little all over the place, but the fact of the matter is the recap was, the episode was a little bit boring, so we had to, just chat it up. But you know what's not boring is Sarah Herron.
Oh, I was going to say Allie's season next week.
Oh, that also too, which we will get into. So excited for Allie's season. Tune in to that next week. And also Wheelchair Rapunzel, Alex Dacy on Thursday. But in the meantime, let's have a quick little chat with Sarah Herron. Well, broads, I mean, I'm just tingling because we're finally able to chat with one of my most favorite people in the world via Instagram. I'm like Insta friendship finally ignited. Sarah Herron is with us. Yay!
And we've been talking about having her for a long time, and I hope that we should actually do a full episode with her as well. But this is a good place to start.
Thank you. I would love that because I've been listening to your show now for like a year. An old coworker of mine introduced me, and I have to give her a shout out because I wouldn't be here without Gwen. and so I've been obsessed with the show for like a year, and I feel like a little crazy fangirl saying this, but I feel like I know you guys, and I'm just so excited to be here.
Oh my God, we're
so flattered.
The most honored.
So what'd you guys think of the show?
I had never seen Sean's season before. So
yeah, it's kind of old.
That was crazy for me.
Oh, really, Becca? You hadn't seen it. And I'm hearing this because we're recording with Sarah beforehand. Oh my God, I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I skipped around on some seasons around then. I had been watching beforehand, but yeah, I didn't watch any of his season. So, I mean, obviously I had heard about it because him and Cassian are like sort of legendary, I feel like, in Bachelor Nation. But yeah, it was all new for me.
Yeah. Well, and it was a long time ago. I think, Becca, I love listening to you, and you sound, you're so wise. And
oh yeah.
But I'm like, you were probably in high school or whatever.
What year was it?
It was, I think we filmed in 2013. I was 25 and I'm 33 now. So I don't know. I'm really bad at math, but it was a long time ago.
What was it like watching?
But it was fun. I loved.
So what was it like watching it back for you? Yeah.
It was really hard. But I think actually like the act of watching it back was fine, but the anticipation of watching it back was the really hard part because it was almost 8 years ago for me, hard to believe. And I think anyone would cringe at the thought of watching an 8-year younger version of themselves on a date. And not only that, but like I've grown so much and I can't fault my younger self for where she was in that stage of life. But, it's hard. You're like, you kind of want to shake your younger version of yourself and tell her like, don't be so insecure, like believe in yourself. You got this. And so I was nervous, anticipating watching it back.
I thought you came off as pretty secure, even though you said you're nervous about that. I thought you stood the test of time and looked pretty good.
That's why I mean, like, I think the story in my head of leading up to it was worse than actually when I watched it back. Because I never went and watched any of it back after it initially aired. It was just kind of like, you know, you get those nerves, you watch it with your friends and family, and then you kind of just push it out of mind for a while.
Were you nervous to watch it back with Dylan specifically? Was he nervous to see it?
Yeah, Dylan has never, he had never watched The Bachelor before meeting me. And every once in a while now I can rope him into like an episode of Paradise, or I actually got him to watch Ari's season with me. And so he's familiar with it now, but he really doesn't like, you know, that was a part of my past. And so he struggled.
Really?
Yeah, he struggled to watch it. It just makes him uncomfortable, I think, seeing a different me back then. But he watched it for like the 10 minutes.
And through the TV lens too, you know, like he's watching you through the lens of editing and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he watched it, and then as soon as my clip was over, he was like, okay, can I go? Like, yeah, I guess you can go. Are we done here? Yeah.
Now, Sarah, I didn't watch Sean's season, but I definitely remember watching you on Paradise. I definitely watched that season.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other thing we don't have to get into. But.
I know. We'll have to talk about Paradise sometime because, oh, God, those are crazy.
Can I ask which one, what's the fondest memory for you? Was it Sean's season or which one of the Paradise ones? Like which one?
Yeah. Okay. So interesting. Sean's season was great because it's like your first Bachelor experience. Everything is like so grandiose and magical. And and it's like at least for me, because I watched the show, and so it was all very surreal. And so like you're stepping into this thing that you've watched on television. But then Paradise is just like a totally different experience. And I would say probably more fun, just because it's so much more relaxed. You're a little more comfortable in your skin at that point. And it's like not the same pressure of you with one guy. It's like, find someone if you can, and if you hit it off, great, and if not, so what? So I liked both, I guess. I don't know. I liked Paradise. Paradise season 1 was probably my favorite.
I always think about the Paradise. If I were to be on the show, I'm like, Paradise looks like way more fun because I feel like I just lay out with a margarita the whole time. And if people are going to hook up, they're going to. If I'm not going to, I'm not going to. I'm just going to lay out and get a tan. And I don't have to just be stuck in, you know, a spot for a while. It
is kind of interesting though, because I will say, and Becca, I'd be curious what you think. Like, when I was on The Bachelor, it's like, if you're not in the moment with Sean or Ari, like you can kind of deflect the other time to the girls and building friendships. But in Paradise,
you're constantly on. Yeah.
And it's also like, you're more aware of relationships forming. And so if you're not developing a relationship, it's not really like, I don't know, you don't have like the time to go be with the girls as much. It's just kind of, it's different. It's a different kind of pressure, but I don't know how to explain it. Maybe.
I had a lot of fun filming Ari's season, like up until the last week or so before I left. Then it was kind of like real feelings were developing. People were getting like tensions were high. People were getting kind of catty, and that part wasn't fun. That was really stressful actually. But like the first few weeks were a blast. It was like we were always hanging out together, getting to know each other. I mean, I really had so much fun, like hanging with everyone. I know people say like, oh, I'm not here to make friends, but I'm like, well, you're only spending like 8 hours a week max with the guy that you're trying to date. So you better be there to make friends. Otherwise you're not going to have fun.
Right. Exactly. I made great friends with girls from my season. And fortunately, I never got into like cattiness or altercations. I wasn't even there long enough to really to get to that competitive point, I guess. But yeah, I made great friends with girls from my season, and that was probably like the best part. Because I think deep down, I always knew I didn't connect with Sean, you know, and you just get kind of swept up in the like, well, I'm supposed to like The Bachelor, so yeah, I like it. Even though you get home and you're I didn't like him.
I have a couple questions. I have one. Did it seem obvious that he was going to pick Catherine or no?
No.
Like when you were actually on the season?
Like,
really?
No, not at all. We always say that Catherine was kind of like the dark horse, like never, she was very cool, down to earth. Everyone loved her in the house, but we never really saw a connection between her and Sean at all. And I don't know if...
No way.
Yeah, not until like when we went to Canada, I think is when they really started to like click. And maybe it was before that and it was just, you know, like sometimes it's a little more secretive. I think they were like sharing notes back and forth or something, but the girls didn't really know about it. And then once they went to Canada, it was just like Catherine took off from there.
So who were you guys thinking beforehand? Because I feel like we knew the couple people that like Ari was really into.
I thought Leslie Murphy was in the bag for sure. And, you know, she did great. I think she made it to like Final Four or something. And then Lindsay Yenter, she was the runner up. And she was another one that was just like, she came in the wedding dress and everyone kind of was like, oh, this is not real. They'll never choose her. And then slowly she was this really awesome down to earth woman that he fell for. And so I thought Lindsay for sure until Catherine came in. So I don't know.
That's crazy.
It's so funny because I remember watching the season and it's so interesting that that's how you all felt. Because when I watched the season, Evan and I actually watched it together. It was like the first full one he watched with me. And we were both like, there's no way it's going to be Catherine because it seemed so much more like Lindsay or like you said, Leslie. Like I remember being so surprised in the end when he ended up choosing her and it was just so, and then to see them together with like all their kids in the end, it's just, it reminded me, obviously it's a very different situation from when, you know, the Ari and Lauren thing because there wasn't the initial Becca choice, but they reminded me of like, oh, it didn't seem like they were as connected, but look at them now. Like it's serious, it's deep love,
totally.
You know? I
know. They're like the prize Bachelor family now.
Well, I wonder if, I guess editing must have been different for this GOAT episode because even though, I obviously knew I already knew they were together, but I felt like watching this episode, they made it seem like him and Catherine like the whole time. Mm-hmm. Like it's just funny. I got a very different impression than what you said, Jess, watching the season. Yeah,
because I guess so you haven't seen it in its entirety.
Right.
They did kind of make it seem that way. But I think it's because they do really have that success story to share it, like to have the reveal or the payoff at the end, like the whole family gathered around. So I think like the franchise is super proud of Sean. They love Sean. They love Catherine. So I think they're like all about pushing forward, like what a success.
They're like, look at what we did.
Yeah, for good reason. Yeah.
No,
we created this.
We manufactured this. Okay, Sarah. So one of my most favorite parts watching this back is watching the scene where you all are about to do the jump off of the big tower. And I'm sitting here going, and I know for you, you're like, oh, like it was this new thing. And now knowing you via social media, watching, and I was like, I'm looking at Sean, I'm like, bitch, this woman just climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. Like she's fine jumping off this.
I know. Well, that was really weird. Yeah, because I definitely, I'm from Colorado. I have a little bit more of an adventurous spirit, but I think in that moment I was feeling like really timid and and also just like, oh, I need to like lean into Sean. It was just weird. Like I think I was maybe not behaving in my most authentic self, and so I maybe acted a little more afraid. I don't know.
Oh, but you seemed like you totally had it to me. It's just amazing. Really? Oh yeah. No, but just to watch it and to know like, oh my God. Like when I've been watching your Kilimanjaro journey, which to me is like the most insane thing ever because the Mount Everest Kilimanjaro things always just make me quake with scariness.
I know.
So to watch that, it's just so like it was just such a trip to like that you had the daredevil date and now it's like check out our Insta.
Well, I think they kind of also leaned into that. Like there was two things. I felt like I was always getting put on dates that were like adventurous and or physically compromising. And that's a whole nother thing that we can talk about, which is I always felt like I was being a little bit exploited or put into positions that were like maybe made for me to like flounder or feel insecure about having one arm in the activity, and maybe to see how Sean reacted, or like, would Sean comfort me or save the day? And it became pretty obvious, like date after date, group date, it was always just these activities that I couldn't do. And Becca, they didn't show a lot of it in the recap, but you know, I had to go to this roller derby group date, and I had to do this like relay race where we had to milk a goat and like carry bales of hay across a field. And I was just like, oh my God, like, literally can't milk a goat. Like, this is kind of humiliating. And so that was something that probably bothered me the most out of like my edit, so to speak, was just feeling like I was put in these compromising scenarios.
Or a position to like make you look helpless.
Right. I'm like, why don't I get the date where I get to go shopping? Why do I have to like row a boat across a lake right now?
You're like, I'm fine with it, but why are you choosing me for this?
Yeah.
That's so frustrating.
Yeah.
I kind of going off of that, I was wondering, how did your experience on The Bachelor sort of like shape who you are now, and how did it impact your life? Did it have a big impact? I felt like it impacted my life. I mean, there's the obvious ways of like a social media following and being in the spotlight, but what about you personally? It's like who you are.
Yeah. So, I mean, so profoundly, because before going on the show, like I said, I was 25. I lived in Los Angeles. I worked in advertising, and I was really insecure in who I was, especially around my arm and dating. And this was like right before Instagram was big. I had like 45 followers. And but I was at that age where people were starting to do like online dating, and I was way too afraid or self-conscious to put photos of myself on my dating app, because I thought people are going to reject me as soon as they see that I have one arm, or, you know, and so I was really insecure about that. And at the exact same time, a friend nominated me to go on The Bachelor. And so they called me in for casting, and it was pretty surreal because, like I said, I had grown up watching the show. And I just figured, you know what, if I do this, maybe I won't be so afraid to like put my image out there, and I won't be afraid to put my photo on dating apps. Crazy. My mind wasn't like, maybe you'll win and find love. I was like, maybe afterward I'll be able to go on dating apps finally. And so, you know, I went, and I was really self-conscious, and I was really worried about a lot of the conversations I would have to have with Sean and other girls on national television. But coming out of it, I really do think it helped me like face so many of those fears and get comfortable talking about the things that I was uncomfortable talking about. And shortly after the show aired, you know, I started getting messages from people all across the world that like either they had one arm or one leg, or their daughter did, or their niece does. And for the first time, they felt they could relate to someone on such a mainstream television show. And so for that, I think it you know, the light bulb started to go off in my head of like, wow, this is bigger than me. And I've been given this incredible platform to help other women realize that like they're just as worthy and deserving of finding love, and even going on a TV show. And so it's been a wild ride ever since then, and how I've used that platform to connect with women all over the world.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know what else is pretty cool? I told you this, Sarah, but I don't think I told Jess or anyone else. We have crossed paths in person before. Yeah. Because really? It's so crazy.
Wait, I'm jealous.
But it was before we didn't talk. It was before I went on The Bachelor, and it was like maybe the summer after your season of Paradise aired, sometime around then.
Yeah.
And I was in Yosemite, and I think I had hiked Half Dome this week, and I was sitting in my car in Curry Village, and I saw Sarah, and I think, maybe it's your partner now. I don't know.
That was my best friend though.
Oh, okay. So you were with someone else, and I saw her walk by, and I was like, wait a second, like I recognize her. And then this is kind of funny, but it flashed to you. Like I was like, wait, I've seen her cry before. I was like, where have I seen this girl cry before? And then I connected and I was like, oh my gosh, she's from The Bachelor.
Yeah.
And then I looked you up on Instagram and saw you had hiked Half Dome that day. But anyway, it was kind of weird. We were in the same place at the same time. But
I love that because
now here I am talking to you.
That was such a also pivotal experience for me. That was the first time I climbed Half Dome. And like that experience of climbing Half Dome was just such a huge catalyst for everything I do now because it was so difficult for me. But it showed me what I was capable of doing. And then obviously just sparked this passion to be outside and to recreate. And so that was like a crazy weekend that I was there and you were there and I wish I knew you.
I know. I wish I knew you too, aside from just being a Bachelor fan.
So weird.
I would have gone up and said hi now. Yeah,
Totally.
That's crazy. So you didn't have like a big outdoorsy passion beforehand? I sort of figured you had always sort of been that way.
No, like I did. I really didn't enjoy even spending time outside until I was like 24 years old. And I do think a lot of that has to do with growing up with a physical difference and just feeling like my comfort zone was like in the arts or, in theater or kind of just doing a little bit more introverted activities. I didn't really like playing any sports because then that made me vulnerable. It put me out on a field where people could see me. And so I just really didn't like doing a lot of physical activities until I was, like I said, 23 or 4, and I learned how to ski. And then once I learned how to ski and learned I loved it, I just was like, I want to do more and more outside. And then that's kind of when I got back into my Colorado roots, so to speak, and learned to love to do everything outside. And I know you're a big climber, Becca, and I learned to climb.
Used to be.
Well, you'll get back into it, and then the kids will be with you. But yeah, I learned to climb like 2 or 3 years ago, and I love it. And I wouldn't say I'm an expert at any one thing, but I just love trying as much as I can outside and testing those abilities.
That's awesome. And I love seeing you share about it on Instagram too.
Yeah, it's fun.
Oh, no, you're one of
I
my...
like to show other women what they can do too. Sorry, what's that?
Oh, no, it's just like, no, when you're talking about showing other women, it's like, and then you say you didn't get into into the outdoors until you were 25. I'm like, I'm, just like an inside bug. And I love your Instagram so much because it's so like the amount that you and Dylan travel and like your, what is it? Is it your RV that's all just set up or like your pop up? And then, and I mean, I know that you had limited time and you have to go, but I am dying to hear about Kilimanjaro. Like I need like a full episode. I want to know everything.
Happy to tell you about Kilimanjaro anytime. And I think just, as a cliffhanger, like it was the coolest experience of my life, and not necessarily because of the mountain itself, but the people I met there and getting to be in Africa and getting to be with the guides and the porters who literally give their lives to make it possible for people to climb that mountain was the most remarkable thing of my life. So happy to tell you guys more about that anytime. And I want to join for an episode recap of Clare because I'm good friends with Clare and I'm just dying to see it. And I listened to your recap of the cast bios and was like loving that.
Oh no, we're making you promise that you have to come on and do a Clare recap with us.
Oh yeah, because I know exactly what Clare likes. I know what Clare's personality is like and what, so I think I have some good intel into that. But I don't know any spoilers, obviously, because she's been locked up filming, but so I don't know anything, but
stay away from spoilers because then we can have you on one of the early episodes and then have you predict.
I do stay away from
what
spoilers
guys she's gonna be into.
Ever since I started listening to you guys, because I'm just like, I don't want to spoil your episode. So I'm like, I stay away from the spoilers.
It's not fun to me. Like I used to love the spoilers so much. And now since we stopped like looking at them at all, I'm like, oh my God, this is way more fun to have no idea what's coming.
Exactly.
I think since we're so involved in the Bachelor world now too, it's like we're so inundated with Bachelor content like I didn't used to be pre being on the Bachelor, and it's way more fun to not know anything.
Yeah, it is.
Now.
It really is.
Yeah, you have to come on early and give us your guesstimations of who you think are going to be like in the top 5, who you think she's going to fall for, but is going to be the wrong choice and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Let's do it.
I like that.
So excited. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. Sarah came on super last minute for us, and we so appreciate you. My comrade, fellow Enneagram 4, just adore you.
I know.
Well,
what, V?
Oh, I was just going to say, speaking of your Instagram, please plug also where everyone can find you.
Oh, yeah. You can follow me on Instagram at Sarah Herron. It's SarahHerron. And that's kind of it. I don't do TikTok. And then if you want to learn more about my nonprofit organization, it's called SheLift, and you can follow them at SheLift, SheLift grams, SheLift grams. And obviously we can talk more about that at a later time too.
Oh my gosh.
Very
we'll
cool.
include that in all the episode notes, broads. Thank you so much, Sarah. We so appreciate you and had the most fun rewatching. And now I need to go rewatch some of these Bachelor in Paradise episodes. I'm maybe I'll do that with my time.
I love you guys so much. Thank you for having me. And I can't wait to chat with you guys longer next time.
Oh, we
Thanks,
will.
Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah. All right, broads. Well, love you all and chat soon.
Chat soon.
Chat soon.